Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2022 Real Property Tax Foreclosure Bidder Seminar. My name is Frank, and I'm one of the auctioneers at Absolute Auction and Realty and the NYSauctions.com team. We've recorded this seminar because we can't do these seminars in person, and many of you have requested to watch these at your leisure. So this is a brief overview. If you want a more extensive information on property tax foreclosure and how it happens and what you can do to participate, we have what's called auction hour seminars on our website, aarauctions.com. There are 3 of them. Each one is an hour long, and you could watch those to get much more detailed information. This is going to be a brief overview, just to give you the information that we generally provide at the in-person seminar, and it's designed to let you watch it at your leisure. First of all, if you have very specific property questions, you want to contact a local town or village building department. Those are the people most informed about these properties, and they can provide you with specific information on the property itself. If you're calling or looking for information about taxes, you're going to want to reach out again to the town or village, the school district, or if you want to learn what the county taxes are going forward, you're going to call the county finance department or treasurer's department. Very general auction and participation questions should be emailed to info@aarauctions.com, and we'll get someone in our company to respond to you as soon as possible. We sell all types of properties at auction: improved, vacant land, majestic property, property that needs little help, or that needs a lot of help. We also have great lakefront property or lake view property. They're quite rare at the auction, but we do have them. So the properties that are in this auction are here because of what's called Real Property Tax Law, Article 11. And there are specific processes that the counties must follow. If you're interested in learning about them, you should do a Google search for NYSRPTL Article 11, and you'll get to the New York State Senate site, and you'll be able to find the real property tax law that I'm speaking about. Before I go too far in this seminar, it's probably a good idea to get out your iPhone camera or your cell phone camera and take some pictures of these slides as we go forward. You can certainly stop and go back, rewind a bit to do that. But there are some things here that you may want to refer to later. Article 11 is the law. Everyone in New York State must pay tax. And in New York State, you're allowed a 2-year and 3-year on certain properties tax delinquency before it will be foreclosed on by the county, title taken, and then according to Article 11 must be sold at public auction. So what are the 2-year parameters? Every property type and classification, whether it's vacant land or improved, will be foreclosed on with a minimum of 2-year tax delinquency. The 3 years applies to agricultural property. And of course, by local law, counties can extend that time period. Property tax foreclosure involves tax bills and notices. There are specific public notices that are published. We'll talk a little bit about interested parties, what's that 90-day notice, and the presumption of validity and final judgment. So everyone gets a tax bill. You'll get an annual tax bill, and you're required to pay it on time. If you don't, there are certain late fees and interest penalties, etc. Even if you don't get your tax bill in the mail, you're still required to pay your taxes. And this has been proven through several court cases and challenges to notification processes. Just be aware that everyone must pay their tax every year, whether you get your bill or not. The public notification, there's a requirement to publicize the list of properties in the official countywide newspapers. There's time frames involved. You'll see these things posted in your legal section. And from there, you could begin doing your basic homework. Our experience is these lists are quite extensive. They're way before the deadlines of taxes that are due. and final. And I wouldn't put too much time and too much stock into this list being complete. Once the properties have received a judge's order signing title to the property to the county, that's when we get a list and we go out and post signs, take photos, and post them to our website. That's typically about 30 days or so, sometimes more, prior to the auction date. That's probably the best time for you to start doing homework. When we talk about homework, and these are interested parties that are notified through a title search, you're going to do the same type of work that the county does. You're going to want to go to the county clerk's office, look for recorded liens, as they are the only liens that are valid. You'll search by the last name, first name of the delinquent property owner, and make a list of any liens or judgments that were discovered. That same list you can verify with the treasurer's office as to who did they notify. Everyone who has a lien, whether it's a bank, a hospital, a small business owner, anyone that has a judgment or a lien against the property in question in the auction, has to be served notice of the impending foreclosure, and they have a period of time to step forward and protect their lien. If they don't do that and basically pay the taxes to keep the property out of the tax auction, then the property will go for judge's review. He'll sign or she'll sign the order of judgment to the county, and then all the liens are wiped away as far as you're concerned. Now, if the county did not discover a lien, let's say it was overlooked, it wasn't found, that lien is a properly recorded lien in the public record, then the property will be transferred to you with that lien still in effect. So that's why we suggest that you do your own title search, verify with the county who they notified, and as long as the items match item for item, then you can rest assured that you won't have any lien issues going forward. Now, we mentioned the IRS. They have 180 days following the date of the auction to buy the property back from you for everything you paid and closing costs. They will not pay for any improvements that you may have made in that time frame. So if you're looking for liens, look for IRS liens also, then verify with the county that the IRS has been notified. If the IRS has been notified and you close and take title to the property, you can request from the IRS in their New York State office for a lien release, and they'll send you a letter stating that they relinquished their lien interest in that property as you are the new owner. Just keep in mind, some liens, again, that are not notified may still be in effect. The 90-day notice that we mentioned has to do, again, for interested parties. They're served notice that they have final 90 days before the judge will sign the order to protect their liens. And if they don't do so, then those liens are extinguished going forward. There has been numerous court cases challenging this entire process. And the bottom line is that it's presumed that as long as the county has followed all the steps of Article 11, that this is a valid foreclosure, it's legal, and that the liens will be transferred to you free and clear of liens going forward. So there are many properties to choose from. Just this week and going into next week, we're going to be visiting approximately 500 to 600 properties for signs and photos. We know you're not interested in all of those properties, so how do you narrow down your choices? Well, first of all, you're going to have to do your homework, and you could be either overwhelmed, quite methodical, or just fatigued by this process. And we understand that. This isn't something that you do every day, so maybe you want to hire somebody to do the searching for you. But if you're going to do it yourself, there are several things that you should be looking for. One of them is the assessment report. You're going to want to look and see how the property is described in the public record. And in the public record, you're also going to find a property tax map, and you can look at that. You'll see a former owner's deed recorded in the public record, any IRS liens. And then you'll want to contact separately the town, the village, or the school. Now, a lot of this information is available online. We're going to show you how you can do that. Here's a free website that you can go to. It's called ImageMate. It's by a company called SDG. and they have a lot of information for a good majority of the counties throughout New York State. Now, not every single county uses SDG ImageMate, but if it does, then you should be going to this site right here. And you want to take a picture of this slide and go to that sdgnys.com/#IMO shortcut. And you'll be able to look at a great amount of public information. One of them is an assessment report. And this will have a lot of good detail information about the property. There'll be links there to reports that you can look at. You can look at tax map information. You can generate reports, print them out for yourself, and you could also find Google Map links. So here's what that assessment report looks like. It's very detailed, gives you square footage, different property information that the assessor has entered into a statewide database. You'll also be able to look at property tax maps. Now, these are not survey maps. These are tax maps. These give you an approximate shape, dimension, and location of properties relative to others and relative to streets and highways. It's a great source to start doing your homework right there. I mentioned the Google Maps. This is a great tool that's part of that information. You can click on a share to your phone, a Google Map link with a pin, and it'll give you driving directions from wherever you happen to be directly to that property. Keep in mind, most improved properties have a full street address, including a number. They're easy to find. Vacant land, not so much. Most vacant land has no street number, and they're not the easiest to find. So you're going to want to use this type of map linking with your cell phone in order to drive directly to the parcel. Now, deeds, those are a good things to read to verify the size of the property. You may want to look for things in the deed like rights of way or easement or other specific property information. The good news is that many of the counties today are completely online with the deed. So you can look up the book and the page. And that information was on the previous information I showed you, the assessor's report. They list the book and page. Make note of that. And then when you go to the county clerk's office online, you can look up specific property deeds. Now, most counties will charge you either a per page printing fee or a day pass fee in order to access the information. It varies all across the state. So take a look at that on your own. Now, do you do this title search yourself or do you hire a professional? If you're confident in doing your own work and rely on your own info and what you've discovered, good for you. I've been involved in this work for over 20 years. If I was to do this type of research and I can't bid on property, can't buy any in the auction, but if I was able to, I would still hire a professional and let them get me a title report. You're going to want to definitely look for IRS liens, as these have a 10-year lifespan from the date of filing. They can be renewed an additional 10 years. As long as the IRS was notified, they're no different than any other lien holder, whether it's a hospital, a nursing home, state income tax. All lien holders that are notified can be extinguished by this process. Again, the IRS has 180 days from the date of the auction to acquire the property directly from you at no profit to you and no loss. Now, local rule means that there are town or village codes governing the use or improvement of property. You're going to want to find out about potential water services or any sewer districts. You want to learn about the schools. These are local information, and you should contact the appropriate local agencies to do that. So, are you done yet? Well, I wish I could say yes, but not quite. You're going to want to learn more about these properties. You know, real estate's a local event. So counties are big places. They have lots of different parcels. And you're going to want to look for recently closed sales nearby to the subject property you're looking at in order to start to gain an apples to apples comparison for value. And there's many ways that you can do that. You can reach out to the realtor community. That's great. But they don't work for free. So you may want to consider hiring a local realtor in order to provide you with some information for a fee for that service. You could also look at sold sites. Realtor.com has sold information. So does Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, etc. There are a whole bunch of sites that you want to look at. Sold. Sold means that's what somebody was willing to pay, and that's the best comparison. Of course, you can look at listings like for sale, your local paper, Harmon Homes, House Upstate Magazine, etc. But those are the asking prices, not necessarily what properties sell for. While you're reviewing property, you're going to want to start taking a look at any cost of repairs or upgrades. And there are a number of ways to do that. Supply houses are great references for the trades. You may want to get some written estimates ahead of time and ask for satisfaction references from former clients of these tradespeople. It's important for you to understand that what you're buying may need some help, might need repair, might need upgrade, and you're going to want to get a good idea of what that investment may be going forward, and that homework needs to be done prior to your bidding. Again, when you ask a professional for advice, the advice is not always free, and keep in mind that free advice is not always best. So just be prepared to pay someone for their information or service. You're going to want to ask the hard questions first. If you see property that has yellow tape or violation signs, or in visiting the property, maybe you've actually witnessed some things that are quite questionable, you're going to want to ask further questions. And maybe some of the questions have to do with zoning, maybe some have to do with code violations, etc. Zoning dictates how properties can be used. So, can you build there? Can't you build there? Is the property big enough to do that? What can I do with this building? That's zoning. And you're going to want to ask those questions on a local level. Building codes have to do generally with safety and safety of the property. What's the design? What's the construction? Have there been maintenance issues? So again, the code department on the local level, that's going to be a great source of information for you. You're going to want to learn about services. Does it have private or public services? Things like public water, sewer, gas, electric. Those are good things to learn about. In very rural areas we go to, sometimes cable, telephone is not nearby. Neither is electric. I visited some properties recently that are completely off the grid. So you're going to want to know that prior to bidding. At the same time, if you do see a well or a septic system, you may want to ask locally and on the county level, what is the condition of that well? If it's known, how deep is it? Does it have potable water? Is the septic tank working? That may be local issue or countywide issue, and you're going to want to ask those questions. Here's an example of property that may not have road frontage. New York State does not recognize what some people call landlocked property. Consider landlocked being property like an island. It has no road actually touching it. And how do you get to it? So on a map, this property looks like it has a road. But in reality, those roads don't exist. They're just drawn on engineered plans and in the tax map. So when you take an aerial view of this property, you discover that it's just land, just woods. There are no roads there. So how do you get to that property? Some properties have a deeded right-of-way. That means you can make access to the property and use it for safe passage. Some have an easement. That's a right to go over somebody's land to get to yours, but you can't necessarily put in a driveway or a road. You want to ask some legal advice. We're not attorneys. We're not giving you legal advice. We're just giving you general information. But you're going to want to look for ways to get to property that we can consider to be rear property or landlocked property. How do you know that we're calling it landlocked or rear property? Typically, we're describing them as may not have road frontage. And when you start looking at maps and photographs, you'll see that they don't actually touch a roadway. Get all your important questions answered before bidding. At auction, when you start bidding, that means you want to buy the property. So are you ready to purchase? Let's try and get you good to go. So one of the most important things to be ready for at the auction is your finances. At the conclusion of bidding, a down payment will be required immediately, and that's going to be done through a credit or a debit card. And then after the auction, there's going to be a 30-day period or less to close. That means finishing out the transaction in a legal sense so that you are the new deeded owner. Keep in mind that all county tax properties are sold with no contingencies, no financing, no inspection, no excuses, closings. Any type of homework that you do needs to be done prior to bidding, and there are no changes to that format. We do accept credit or debit cards at the auction, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, and we suggest that you call your card provider before you go to use that card and tell them, I'm making a real estate purchase. And you're going to want to estimate what your down payment is. An easy way to do that is to visit our website, nysauctions.com, and look for the down payment calculator. We have every county laid out in terms of their minimum requirements. You could put in the bid amount. You can take a click on that calculator, and it will show you exactly what your minimum down payments for the day will be. And then that's the kind of information you want to relay to your credit card provider and tell them, I'm going to make X dollars down payment on my credit card. They'll confirm that you've made that call. They'll put a note in their computer system so that on the day of the auction, when we run your card for the transaction, it actually works. Now, the auctions are primarily online again this year. We only have a couple of auctions that are contemplated as being in person, but for all other auctions, you will need to fully register online. At all auctions, you can bid online. So if you, even the in-person auctions, if you choose not to attend in person, you can bid online. You're going to want to look for the bidder information packet and get yourself registered. And you do that by getting a username and a password. You're going to have to provide proof positive identification of who you are. We use DocuSign system. Makes it very easy to use at home, very simple. It's quite secure, and we've registered thousands of people this way. But we do need proof positive identification of who you are. You're going to acknowledge that you've looked and read and understood the agricultural district disclosure, the agency disclosure, the new LLC disclosure if you're using that. And you're going to be able to go forward in your registration process as long as you check the boxes. So we do have New York State agency disclosure that we work exclusively for the seller, meaning the county. There is a federal lead paint form that lets you know the county has no idea about lead paint on these properties and that you will waive your right to do any post-auction inspection or the 10-day waiving your right to do an inspection. You're buying them as is, and you're not going to have any complaints later should you find lead paint. We have you sign and acknowledge, rather, the agricultural district disclosure form. Some properties are in an ag district, and you're going to buy them that way. There's a new fair housing notice that's been in effect the last couple of years, anti-discrimination disclosure notice, and there's a new LLC, proof of existence notification that you'll need to file if you're going to be buying these properties as an LLC. If you're bidding on behalf of someone else, not your married spouse, it's a partner or a partnership, you may need to have a power of attorney. We have a form that you can download on our website. That's just one form of many that you can use to submit, but you will need to provide that permission if you're going to be bidding on someone else's behalf. So at the outset, we've talked about all the different homework things that you need to do and all the paperwork. And sometimes when you go to buy real estate, you still feel like this guy. It's like things are tilted against you and you're on the wrong end of the field. The nice thing about auction is that by everyone performing the same paperwork and homework in advance, we create a level playing field. And the way we do that is through the terms of the auction. That makes all buyer offers equal. The only difference is the dollar amount bid. So every county does have terms and conditions, and we're going to have a separate recording specific to the county that you're interested in, talking about their terms and conditions. So you're going to want to take a look on our website. We're back to the email and make sure that you're getting to the correct terms and conditions recorded seminar. Once you get to our website on auction day, you'll see that the properties are going to be featured, the one that's being bid on, and then there's a list of properties to follow. It's easy to follow. Bidding happens one after the other. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 properties being bid on at the same time because people continue bidding on the property as they're scheduled to close out. It's very simple, very easy to follow. It works really well. We've sold several thousands of properties already through this system, and it works seamlessly. Once you are the high bidder, you will make an immediate down payment through your credit or debit card. We'll do that through our office, and then we're going to start sending you paperwork necessary to begin heading towards the closing process. You'll get a contract of sale. It's a very simple 1-page document, contract of sale. We're going to process again your debit credit card. And then, this is kind of interjected here. Here's that down payment calculator I mentioned a few minutes ago. On our website, it shows you that you can search your minimum payment amounts and what they'll be. There are also some additional forms that you're going to sign at the auction. Not only the 1-page contract of sale, deposit a receipt, but also there's some required New York State forms. There's a TP 584, which is the transfer tax report, and then a transfer of ownership report, the RP 5217. Those are all filed electronically with New York State, and that's how they keep track of all the property sales that occur. And they also use that information as part of the assessment information going forward on properties. A quick claim deed will be sent to you by mail once the county approves your bid. Right, all property bids have to be reviewed by the county. We don't have minimum starting bids or minimum bid requirements. They're reviewing to make sure that the buyer is not a delinquent taxpayer in their county. They don't want to sell more property to people who are not paying tax. So that's typically what the review is for. Once the county approves your bid, then all the paperwork is filed with the county clerk's office. And in New York State, the legal definition of when it becomes legally yours is when the deed is recorded in the public record. That's when it's officially your property. Even if you fully paid for it weeks before, it's still not your property until it's recorded. So when you get the quick claim deed in the mail, that's when it's yours, and you can go and start doing whatever you need to do on that property. Typical quick claim deed is 1 page and transfers title to you. So that's a general overview of what you should do and how things work at the tax auction. You should certainly follow the advice. If there are any additional steps that your attorney or tax professional tells you to take, you certainly listen to their advice as advised. But again, if you have property-specific information, you're going to want to contact the local town or village, the building department, the code officer, and then for tax information, town, village, school, or on the county level to find out about future taxes. General questions about the way to register or how you're going to participate in the auction can be sent to info@aarauctions.com. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll look forward to hopefully getting to see you all again in person and in a not too near distant future. Thank you and have a great day. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Orange County 2022 Real Property Tax Foreclosure Auction Seminar, covering the terms and conditions of the auction. We will briefly review the highlights of those terms and also direct you to additional resources both on our website and elsewhere so that you can become a better informed buyer. When you have property-specific questions, the best thing to do is contact the town or village building department. They can assist you with things such as zoning, compliance, and use. They have great information about that. And they also know of any violations that may be against any parcels in this auction. When you want to discover information about taxes, you should contact the county, town, village, or school district for specific tax-related information. The county finance department also has information related to county taxes. General auction questions regarding registration and how to bid can be directed to info@aarauctions.com. If you visit AAR Auctions or the nysauctions.com page, there are a tremendous amount of resources there for you to help you understand fully the Article 11 foreclosure process. We have how-to videos recorded, and we also have something that we call Auction Hour. They are 3 one-hour recorded seminars that can help you walk you through this process. For Orange County, they have the terms broken up into 2 portions. They're called Internet terms and standard terms, and they are blended all together as one set of terms. Everyone who wants to participate in the auction is required to register and provide suitable identification. And you will get an internet bidding packet emailed to you with an electronic link once you sign up for the auction on our webpage. And then you'll have to follow up with DocuSign. That is the intermediary service we use to verify your identification and to have you securely sign all documents. This all must be done prior to bidding and no later than Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. Part of the standard terms is again that you need to register for the auction and that you'll be responsible for payment of an 11% buyer's premium with a 1% buyer's premium discount used for the down payment as a bank check or money order. And we'll cover further the down payments a little more in this presentation. But you're able to make down payments by bank check or money order to receive 1% discount. Guaranteed funds must be received at the auctioneer's office prior to bidding. And we have our address there at 45 South Avenue in Pleasant Valley, New York. No later than April 29, 2022 at the close of business, which for us will be 4 p.m. We need to receive your guaranteed funds in order to be able to provide you with that 1% buyer premium discount. Orange County makes no warranty or representation about any of the properties, whether they're suitable for use, whether the property is the exact acreage, etc. All information that you're going to rely on to make these purchases should be discovered through your own due diligence prior to bidding. And again, we have videos on our website informing you on how to do that type of research and homework. Some people will forego their own work and simply hire a title examiner to do that work themselves. Premises will be conveyed subject to any easements, rights of way, or restrictions and conditions of record, meaning as long as they're filed in the deed in the county record, then they apply to the properties you are buying. Transfer of title will be by a simple quit claim deed, and that deed will contain a tax map number as the full and final description of the premises. There will not be included any additional meets and bounds descriptions. Some of the properties sold in this auction may lie in what's called an agricultural district. The ag district has special use allowances. There may be tax benefits. There may be restrictions on development. So the ag districts are identified on the official tax maps that you can access through the county, and you can also access by looking at any of the maps in any of the towns or villages. You definitely want to familiarize yourself with these tax maps if you have any questions regarding any potential pesticide use, any sights, sounds, or smells of agricultural property. Conveyance is subject to any federal or state tax liens. And as you may have learned through watching our other videos, the title search that the county conducts prior to auction for interested parties, meaning anyone that has a lien against the property, does also include federal and state tax lien. And as long as those federal and state tax lien holders were notified, then their liens are extinguished as any other lien against the property in this foreclosure process. However, if the county did not notify federal or state tax lien holders or any other lien holders of record, then those liens may still exist against the property, and that is how you are going to acquire them. So we definitely recommend that you conduct your own title search and verify with the county that the liens that you discovered against the county match the liens that the county notified, because all known lien holders have their rights extinguished by the Article 11 foreclosure process. It's your responsibility to undertake the necessary search, and also a search of bankruptcy proceedings. There have been no searches done on behalf of us or the county regarding bankruptcy proceeding. Orange County makes no representation that the buildings erected on any premises here comply with any federal, state, or municipal law, regulation, or ordinance. They're being sold strictly as is, where is, and it's incumbent upon you to discover through your conversation with the towns or villages whether or not the buildings are inhabitable, whether they comply with code, etc. Purchaser also assumes all responsibility for obtaining possession of the premise, including any necessary eviction proceedings. The county does not evict anyone in or about any of these properties, and should the property be delivered to you with any occupancy, it's going to be your responsibility to either collect rent, if that's the case, or to evict if you want the property vacated. Paragraph 13 talks about the responsibility of paying the 2023 county town taxes, the 2022 and 23 village taxes, which may be re-levied onto the 2023 county or town bill, and any 2022 and 23 school taxes, again, which may be re-levied. The minimum bids here in Orange County, and they're unique to the County of Orange, they include any additional taxes that the county are going to collect prior to auction. So the Orange County does have a local law that the property cannot be sold for less than the prior taxes, and that has already been incorporated in the minimum bids that you see in our catalog. You are going to be responsible for taxes subsequent to the auction, meaning going forward from the date of sale, you're going to be responsible for those taxes. So what you see listed in number 13 and mentioned there in number 14 is that some of the bills that we're discussing here have not been produced yet and will not come out until later this year. It's also incumbent upon you to make sure that you receive the tax bill. Now understand the address of record is only updated once a year, so that when you're buying these properties at this time of the year, your name and address of record may not appear for the tax bill to be mailed to you at your location. So when the school taxes are due, when village and town taxes or county taxes are due, you want to make sure that you ask for a tax bill. Make sure you pay them. Buyers of any property that have village, water, or sewer districts will be required to pay any back taxes or back village water or sewer district rents. They're the responsibility of the purchaser. We have no additional information regarding those amounts, so you need to contact the municipality that has public water or sewer and ask them by referencing the tax identification number of the parcel you're interested in if there are any outstanding water or sewer district rents owing. Good news for you. In paragraph 16, Orange County acquired title to these properties according to Article 11 of the New York State Real Property Tax Law. And as I mentioned earlier, and as you learned in other seminars, the rights of the former lien holders have been extinguished as part of this process. So as long as the county notified prior lien holders, they are forever barred from coming forward to enforce the lien against you. 18, subject to underground encroachments or easements of any, things like pipes and drains, etc. Also subject to the sales in favor of any utility, lighting, telephone company that may need to do maintenance on underground utilities or structures. No title to any personal property is conveyed. Everything is sold as is. What does that mean? You may buy a parcel that has personal property left behind, clothing, furniture, etc., and it also may include vehicles, boats, things of that nature. You are not acquiring that by the Article 11 process. You're buying real estate, not personal property. So getting rid of personal property may become your responsibility. We suggest that if there is anything there of value, and that is a gray area, what is a value? You may want to use your attorney to help you contact the former owner of the property. Give them a period of time to come and get their personal property possessions, including any vehicles. Otherwise, you may have to dispose of them. Vehicles, any question regarding vehicles should probably be directed to the Department of Motor Vehicles in asking them how to arrange for disposition of abandoned property. All premises sold in groups or singly. For the most part, this auction is a single parcel auction. However, there are a few auction lots in the catalog and that you've been perusing that show more than one tax identification number. In such cases, you are buying one or more, typically adjoining parcels, together as one for one money bid. So they've been clearly identified in the auction, and that's how you will be making those purchases. Now, Orange County does reserve the right, as all the counties that we work with, reserve the right to reject any bid for any reason whatsoever. And in 24, they go on to talk about rejecting any and all offers. It's their right to do that. So let me just finish 24 first. Prior owners, immediate family members, or representative of prior owners may bid, assuming that the bid amount exceeds all back taxes and fees necessary to reacquire the property at auction. Then they need to outbid you, the other public people. They need to pay them prior to closing. So they are allowed, prior owners are allowed to bid. However, speaking back to the rejection of offers, should a high bidder at the auction be discovered by the county to be a former delinquent owner, either of the subject parcel they're bidding on or on any other property in the county, if they owe taxes on other properties, that's typically a reason for rejection of the bid, and there will be forfeiture of any funds made. In the event that the sale is somehow canceled by court order or judgment, Orange County will be the entity that refunds your purchase money, and that's all you'll be entitled to. There's no damages, there's no award for interest or any of that type of thing, so you're just going to get all the money that you've made as a down payment to date in return, and that comes directly from the county. All funds that we're collecting on behalf of the county are fully transferred to the county at the conclusion of the auction, including any buyer's premium that was paid, and then the county remits to us our buyer's premium once closings have transpired. In 26, the purchaser is responsible for payment of the buyer's premium in addition to the purchase price and closing costs and any fees associated. Let's talk about money just a little bit. Paragraph 27, at the time that the premises are struck down, you'll be required to make payment by bank check or money order payable to the Orange County Commissioner of Finance or credit or debit card. We accept MasterCard, Discover Card, or Visa in such amount that is either $1,000 or 20% of the total contract price, whichever is higher. Keep in mind, the contract price is your bid amount plus the buyer's premium, and then the percentage is applied. So for example, if you bid $100,000 on a property, and let me just say that you're using a bank check or guaranteed funds down payment, so I can calculate it at 10%. You're going to use a $100,000 bid plus a 10% buyer's premium, an additional $10,000. Your total contract price is $110,000. 20% of that is $22,000. That is what due at the conclusion of the auction. So make sure that if you're using bank check or money order that you've sent in a sufficient amount to our office in order to get that buyer's premium discount. We do have a down payment calculator on the website that you can access at any time. Just use the drop-down box. Make sure you select Orange County and then enter potential bids that you may make, and it'll calculate for you the required down payment. So you'll know what type of check in what amount to get in order to send to our office, or if you're using a credit or debit card, you're going to want to contact that card provider prior to using the card at auction and let them know you're going to be using potentially X amount of dollars on that card on the day of the auction. One of the largest frustrations for both you and our office staff at auction is that when we go to run your card for the down payment, it's declined, not because you don't have enough money. Most people do have the correct amount, but because you didn't notify the card provider ahead of time. And since you don't buy real estate every day, the computer doesn't recognize the transaction on their end and it's rejected. And then you need to call them, etc., and it takes time. So one of the best things you could do is if you're guaranteed that you're going to be bidding at the auction and you do want to make a purchase, call your bank provider. You could do it today. Tell them that you're going to be bidding at an auction, buying real estate, and you may potentially put $20,000, $30,000 on a credit or debit card. They will put a mark in the computer system on their end so that when we run the card, it works. Also, just to advise you that any purchaser using a credit or debit card agrees that you're not going to attempt a chargeback. If you do, there will be a recovery fee associated with that process. Once you lose that challenge, there will be a $750 additional recovery fee applied. Let me mention to you, no one has been successful to date in trying to cancel their credit card or debit card purchase. So we would just advise you, don't bother doing that. Don't attempt to do it. It's just going to cost you more money to try and change your mind. So don't change your mind. Make sure that when you do bid at auction, it is something you are looking to buy, you want to buy, and you will close. In 28, the purchaser shall pay additional closing costs and fees, and there are some state fees, local fees that you may need to pay, and they're explained to you there in number 28. Now, I just point that out because it's at closing. If you go up to paragraph 27, it talks about the down payment on the day of auction, including all closing costs. Our understanding is that the closing costs are not due on the day of auction. They are in fact due with the final payment that will be made to the county treasurer, in this case, Commissioner of Finance, as part of your final payment. So let me just fast forward a second. If you're the high bidder at the auction, we will collect the down payment that day from you. There will be a purchase and sale contract that'll be emailed to you, and you will know fully the amount due for closing. And the closings are typically occur through the mail. We don't see sit-down closings, and Orange County has restrictions on entering the building, so you're either going to mail in or drop off your final payment. We'll cover some more of that in just a minute. 29, all informational tools like slides, tax maps, etc. that we've posted to our website are as accurate as possible. However, neither the county nor our auction team makes any warranty or guarantee that that information is in fact correct or accurate. We've tried to make sure that we download from the county website all proper information related to the parcel of record. However, occasionally there are errors that we find even in the county record that are transferred, and you may be looking at them. You should make sure on your own that what you're bidding on is what you think you're bidding on and purchasing. Just a note about signs on property. The only time signs are guaranteed, if you will, to be accurate are when we post them and take a photo of them. Signs get moved. Neighbors move signs. Interested buyers move signs. I don't know why that happens, but occasionally it does. So just be careful that make sure that what you think you're buying is actually what's been identified with a public sign. Let me just go back one page. Not going to be able to go back one page. The balance of the purchase price paid to Orange County Commissioner of Finance in Goshen will be between the hours of 9 and 4 p.m. on or before June 3rd. So you can certainly make payment prior to June 3rd, 2022, but this is the absolute last date for you to make final and full payment. And there's information there about how to do that further in that paragraph, and I'll let you read it and understand it. After completion of your final payment, a quitclaim deed shall be filed in the county clerk's office. Understand that in the state of New York, the property is yours once the quitclaim deed is filed in the public record. So you should not enter or go about or do anything on these properties until the property is recorded in your name. Also understand that the purchaser executing the terms of sale may not assign or transfer right to complete the bid. The way you register is how eventually the closing documents will be created, and that's the deed that will get filed. So make sure that the way you register is the way you want to take title, and there are no exceptions to that are made. Again, quitclaim deed, it will be issued to that buyer of record. Orange County should not be obligated to send any further notice to the purchaser. So once you're the high bidder, once the auction has taken place, we will seek a confirmation of approval of the bids from the county, and then we will make notice on our website. So just allow a few days to transpire beyond the auction date, and then you can check back to nysauctions.com and look for a posting of bids being accepted. The purchaser may not take possession or enter the property until delivery of the deed. So again, please don't trespass. Certainly do not begin any improvement, collection of rents, or any of those things until the deed is recorded in your name. If a person owes any delinquent taxes to Orange County, those delinquent taxes must be paid in full prior to registration at the auction. Failure to comply with this provision will be grounds for ineligibility to bid. So this information here seems to update the earlier information we discussed, in that you need to make sure you pay all your back taxes before bidding. There are also some additional terms regarding Orange County employees and elected officials, and who is prevented from bidding. Some of that information is here. Also understand that the NYS auctions team, AAR auctions team, is also precluded from bidding on any property as per our professional services agreement with the county. So everyone that acknowledges these terms and conditions, and I've only done a brief overview of them, agrees to be bound thereby. That's one of the reasons why we think at auction It's the best way to buy property because every offer, every purchaser is agreeing to buy property under the same set of rules and circumstances. Additionally, please follow any steps recommended by your attorney or tax professional prior to bidding. And again, if you have property-specific information, contact that local level source, like a town or village building department. Taxes, the same way. Local source is a great place to ask. And if you have general auction questions, you can direct them to info@aarauctions.com. That said, we've anticipated your questions over the past 20 years in our recordings that are on our website, and there is a great amount of resource there for you if you have the time and patience to actually sit down and watch and learn. If you have done no homework whatsoever and you strictly want to watch the Orange County tax auction take place, then that's great. Don't bid, just sit down, connect, watch the auction, see how it happens, and be prepared for the next one. If you're totally uninformed, you probably don't want to participate. However, for those of you who have done your homework or are about to do your homework, comfortable in bidding, we want to congratulate those high bidders who will become new property owners here in Orange County, New York. Thank you and good luck at the auction. We can't wait to see you all again in person one day soon.